Hello, welcome back to Kaiserreich. So last episode we dropped the nuke, and also I did change the thumbnail for the occasion. I probably will change it back in this episode. I mean, you'll know by the time you've clicked on this video. But yeah, I'll probably change it back. Maybe change it whenever I drop a nuke, or potentially permanently change it to something a bit more apocalyptic because of, you know, the general state of the world in this. I've been working on the script for the Finland epilogue. I say script, it's mostly like the notes. And when trying to estimate the casualties for that world, it's actually absurdly depressing, because I believe even in the real life World War II, the most like pessimistic casualty estimates don't even come close to like 1/5 of what happened in that world. It's insane, and no nuclear bombs have been dropped in the Finland world. Well, they will have by the time, you know, the epilogue is done. But no nuclear bombs were dropped during our playtime. Let's see, I'm unpausing, but we have a lot of opportunities for breakthroughs here, because they pushed us, but then obviously they lose a lot of organization in doing so. We have some opportunities there, if we would like to try to exploit them. So I'm gonna wait until this guy moves in here before I move these troops out. I mean, I can probably move 2 of them out and move them down southwest towards Antwerp. And we're going to try to push into these beleaguered divisions here. Yeah, who would have thought? Put a nuclear bomb in the thumbnail, and a bunch of more people click your videos. Guess that's why all these people put like laser eyes on their thumbnails and shit, and like nuclear bombs and stuff. I'm not gonna keep doing that though. You know, I'm not a big fan of well, very homogenized thumbnails, like all the thumbnails essentially looking the same. In terms of like, I don't want to follow the laser eyes trend that a lot of people who meme Hoi4 do. Gotta take a sip of water there, but yeah, I don't want to do that, but I don't want to keep the thumbnails a bit dynamic, like well, the CK2 roleplay series, which I haven't been able to continue all that much because I've been making these videos. With that one, sorry, the changing like the character portrait, like even something as simple as that, I think goes a huge way to like you know, keep the thumbnail informative of what's actually going on in the video, which is something I think thumbnails should be and should do. Yo, I want to drop another nuke here, because they've just put even more troops in Kiel. Of course, that one isn't going to be done for another 356 days, so we get roughly 1 nuke every year. That's going to accelerate once we get our second reactor up. That's going to be 2 nukes per year. After that, we could potentially start thinking about a 3rd reactor, but I don't know if that's I mean, it straight up isn't the best idea, but it might be a very fun idea. There's so few divisions here defending. All of them are over here, which is so good because nothing is happening here. Yeah, there's very few over here, so like if we actually had, I mean, a lot of them are here as well, but if we actually had any sort of troops to commit here, that could be huge. I think we're going to push down the coast and try to unify these front lines. I'm not quite sure if that's a good idea though, because that's going to stretch the air front line a bit further, but since we are going to be pushing gradually anyways, we can stop whenever we want to. And since we're going to be pushing along the coast, we can evacuate if need be, whenever we want to as well. So our Marines are low on strength, and I want to know why. What are they missing? In fact, I can probably just click them and have a look. So they are missing cannons, right? No, wait, no, 2 off. That's just what they use, right? Or is that just in general everything they're missing? They're trying to use Gewehr M44 instead of Norwegian weapons. I don't know why. Let's see here. We should have enough guns, but a bunch of those are, of course, foreign. Yeah, there you go. 420,000 are equipment that we have captured. We should have enough equipment in general to equip these Marines. I'm not quite sure why they're low on strength. Let's see. Where do you... there's a place where you can set up... there we go. What we're like allowed to use for them. Let's have a look at the design. So all this stuff. Okay, so that's very annoying that you can't actually tell if it's equipment 1, 2, or 3. But M44, I'm going to guess, is the most current equipment, because it does look like, you know, our most current equipment, and all this other stuff is old stuff. Considering they are Marines, I'm going to try to limit them to the newer equipment. This is probably good enough. Yeah, they have engineers and they have support artillery. They don't have anything else. But they shouldn't really... They shouldn't be struggling. Like, out of any division, it shouldn't be the Marines that are struggling in terms of equipment. 220 and 1,500 compared to a normal infantry division's brigade. More infantry equipment, but we have enough of that. Dude, I don't know. Might have just been they underwent some sort of operation and lost a bunch, I don't know. They are green, which I very much do not like. Do we have any other troops here in this army that are green? No, we do not. I might actually... Well, I'm actually going to. I'm going to split them off into another army and I'm going to have them train. Because I'd rather sacrifice equipment than manpower. Let's see, who did we have that had some invader skill? It's Fleischer, and that's about it. And none of them are close to the invader skill. We'll put them under control of William Steffens then. Right now they're defending, so we gotta wait for that. That means, or Marinejäger means, like, roughly translated, I mean, it directly translated, it's like Marine Hunter or whatever, like Jaeger, but, it probably more aptly translates to, like, Marine Recon or something like that, like, in terms of the US, our Marinejäger, what we call the Marinejäger, like divisions or whatever, or it's not a division even, it's like a brigade. They are, in modern Norway that is, they are equivalent to something like Navy SEALs and stuff, I think. So that's basically what these guys are, like elite troops. Of course, not in the manner modern elite troops exist, like we shouldn't conceptualize them exactly as such. Because in World War II, even a normal, like, normal, I'm trying to think like how to explain this, but basically Marines are elite troops, and even so there were a lot of Marines. A lot of Marines were fighting, you know, in the Pacific, like a fuck ton of them. But they're elite troops because they are trained in a specific, or trained to accomplish a specific task, which is just what elite means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are better than everyone else. In general, it just means that you are better than everyone else at a specific task that you are trained for. Paratroopers as well, used extensively and famously in World War II, were also elite troops. Yeah, for our elite troops here, we are equipping them. Also, this is a nice encirclement, I think. It's hard to tell with the lowlands, but yeah, we are equipping them, especially well, our Marines here, because you know, they are going to be accomplishing some tasks that are a bit harder than the others. We want to put the best weapons in their hands as possible. This is bad. They do have open, like, room to maneuver, but so if this was a player playing, they would send those motorized divisions off to the west to anywhere with a port, like Cherbourg. But of course, since it's an AI, they're attacking across the river into Le Havre. And the music has stopped. Why is that? Huh. There we go. Panning over to Japan every now and then just to see how it goes with these guys. Have they? No. So, they were almost sitting at the natural, well, quote-unquote natural, the historical border between North and South Korea. So I was kind of like thinking some sort of peace settlement had been made, but it does not appear that is the fact at all. Wonder if that's possible to have a peace deal with Fengshan and Japan. What is that atrocious sound? I think it's refitting and ship construction that's done. Yeah, seems like it is. Again, we have so many military factories that we can't really use because we don't really have the resources to do so. I'll just start making guns because why not? Like, we have a lot of guns, but not a lot of them are home produced, and we are losing 102, which we can do for a very long time before we run out, but I would like to have a bunch of locally produced modern weapons as well, because I don't know exactly how many of these weapons here are old. Let's check. Yeah, a very significant portion of them are very old. So we do have almost 200,000 really good ones from the Dutch, I think, planted from the Dutch. That's really good. I wonder if the low speed of organization recovery here and the low speed of recovery for strength for the Marines has something to do with infrastructure. Yeah, we should probably actually set up some jet production. Yeah, we should set up J-21R production once it's done. Just have a couple of jet fighters. They won't really make a huge difference, but I do want to see the event that pops up whenever the first jet fighters engage an enemy. I think we need to pull back over here and try to help this out. That's bad. Let's see, 60% stability, and is it war support or stability now that that affects capitulation? Because it used to be once your the amount of victory points you hold falls below a percentage that is equal to your stability, you capitulate. I have a feeling that that is not the case anymore. Yeah, pretty much every nation just will capitulate when they have 21 or 20% or less. So I think 21%, that is because the lack of stability or war support. Potentially, if we keep nuking the French, that will go up, I believe. So there was a suggestion that we start investing into rocket artillery because the soft attack is higher than normal artillery. And I'm very open to that idea. I haven't really played around a bunch with rocket artillery because they used to just not be worth it. But that was a very long time ago. And they used to not be worth it, not necessarily because the artillery was bad or anything. It was just that the normal artillery did the job adequately for the production that and tech that you would have to invest in it. Of course, tech investment right now is not even a problem because we are low on stuff to invest in. Right, we're gonna pull back. The Marines also should have pulled back earlier, but I forgot about them. Oh, cool, a new trait. Actually very good movement bonus there. And in fact, I'm gonna use the makeshift bridges because we're gonna be crossing a lot of rivers right now. Also, I was very lucky when we were playing earlier when we invaded the Netherlands because in the there was a feature added in I don't know if it's Man the Guns or the expansion, but whichever expansion added features for the Netherlands. Anyways, that feature was then adapted to Kaiserreich in the most recent hotfix for Kaiserreich. So now, or those features, some of them. So now the Netherlands, when facing invasion, get a decision where they can flood the lowlands. Dude, I gotta take that. It's so cheap. But yeah, so that didn't happen to us, obviously. Luckily. Because that might have made the invasion a pain in the ass. Lack of civilian factories. Excuse me. Oh, because, yeah, we lost some, because the game was like, you've lost this amount of states now, so now you lose those factories. We'll take them back. I think we'll take them back from this angle here, because this seems kind of suicidal to cross. Actually, no, there is land there. So it shouldn't be a river crossing, in which case. Can you box select and deselect them? No, you cannot. There you go, shift click, works. I guess we can attack from both sides. We'll send these guys to attack Svola, and then we'll send these guys to attack towards Leeuwarden. Should not be a problem. God, I wish you would just, you know, do something about that potential enemy to your north here, Mr. Ahmed. Please liberate Batumi. It would be very, very helpful to all of us if you tried. Now, these guys, they went they went totalist in America, so now they have William Z. Foster, radical labor organizer who spearheaded this syndicalist movement in America. And he, yeah, since it's totalist, it puts them, you know, on a path of more aggressive foreign policy and all that, which puts them possibly in a position where they might try to embrace a sort of Monroe-esque doctrine where they want to rule North America. Well, the Americas in general. Now that is a bit spooky. We lost a bunch of territory that we took earlier. We also didn't take that one. Wait, what the fuck? Oh no, he retreated here. Yeah, we lost a division somewhere, but I can't tell where. Oh no, I'm stupid. That's the Marine division. I was like, oh, there's not, because I attacked with one division out of 3 here, but he retreated all the way there. I was very confused as to why there were 2 divisions here and not 3. I'm moving them because one is lower on organization than the other, and I'm going to put that one back in Ghent and the other 2 at the front line. And I'll have them attack. These guys are not defending, so they can attack Zvola. Or Zvola. There we go, this should take the port, and then we can probably move into Dunkirk immediately afterwards if we want to. Possibly Lille as well. No, they're reinforcing. Maybe Dunkirk then. Basically just want to take a bunch of ports so that we have adequate ways to escape, and also just more places for our troops to ship in. And honestly, I'm fine with them losing this naval invasion, because it means that we can get more troops focused on this line. Like, our allies will ship more troops here instead of dividing it everywhere. With the AI, it pays to have a coherent front line. Very often. Oh boy, they're not actually taking any attrition here anymore. That might mean they fixed the infrastructure as well that we bombed. The next bomb we drop, by the way, is probably going to land on... I mean, it's going to have to land on someone who needs to capitulate, so it, even though I didn't want to, it might have to land somewhere in France. Because we need to try to force a capitulation of the Commune of France. Because bombing the Ukrainians, while they are, you know, basically the leader of the socialist bloc alongside the Commune of France right now, it won't actually stop the war. It's not enough just to bomb them, we also need to threaten invasion. In Vanilla, Japan has a special event where they can, I believe, surrender after 1 or is it 2 nukes? 2 nukes. After 2 nukes, I think they get an event that's like, you know, we can choose to try to peace. Like, they can try to give their conditional, unconditional surrender. Like, in reality, obviously, the Japanese surrender was meant to be unconditional, but several conditions were fulfilled. For example, the Emperor got to still exist, as like his post still existed, and it was kind of whitewashed of having taken part in many of the atrocities. A lot of it was blamed squarely on the military, which I think was a conscious effort to whitewash the Emperor. By the way, and I'm not gonna recommend stuff like this very often, because generally I'm not a big fan of pop history, but Dan Carlin's hardcore history, while severely flawed in some respects, the podcast Dan Carlin's hardcore history is really good for getting a bit deeper into history and learning some interesting and cool stories. Though Dan Carlin that is, though he is not probably the best at giving a very like recent argument and very like I don't know, like a very source-based approach and stuff like that. He is a very, very, very good storyteller, which is what, you know, his podcasts mostly are. They're, you know, him telling you stories from history. And he has a really good one called The Supernova of the East, which is about Japan and how, like, it's about the radicalization of Japan and how they ended up in a spot like this. Just looking at the factions, because the factions, I believe some of the focus trees here that you can embrace are based on the military factions in Japan at the time. Yeah, the Kodaha faction, for example. Real life military faction inside the, or faction within the military of Japan at the time. Right, well, let's have a quick look at casualties. Actually, before that, I'll have a quick look at casualties, actually. Also, I clicked the wrong place, totally. I'm gonna mostly focus on casualties that we haven't seen a bunch of in the past, though, because we recently did the other ones. But before that, I'm just gonna launch into my ending spiel and just say thank you for watching. If you would like, you can follow me on Twitter, Discord, and contact me on Discord and all that stuff in the description down below. Follow me on twitch.tv for live streams, and you can also support me on Patreon. The first tier and only tier is $1 and up, and you don't really get anything of note from it, because I kind of feel like most Patreons are kind of like, you know, they give you fake shit that doesn't really matter, and I'm kind of I want to be honest about what it actually is. You don't get much. You get a different color for your Discord name once, you know, the payment goes through, which it does only on the 1st of every month. And you get some priority and some voting rights and stuff for a series that I'm going to be making. And that's about it. Like, you don't get much, but you don't have to pay much either. But yeah, so let's go into these thingies. Also, this song, pretty good as well. $300K for us. In New England, 2.38K, or 38 million, I mean. 1 million manpower still, that's an insane, like, that's an insane amount of losses, but still, and it's also insane that they still maintain some manpower. Ireland. Speaking of which, not doing so good. Denmark, Sweden, like their bravery must be commended. Frederick the Ninth, I don't know who that is actually. And Gustav V. Let's have a look at some of these smaller socialist republics. South German Union, 51,000. So they are already on scraping the barrel, but you know, they are newly formed nations, so that is to be expected. Seems like all those nations are also doing pretty poorly right now. Yeah. Italy, 36 to 44 manpower. Because Sicily still is actually maintaining some manpower. So it seems like our alliance and the enemy alliance fields almost an equal manpower now. And the enemy has taken more losses than us, which means over time this might turn into a victorious war of attrition. Provided, of course, we can deal with somehow the Ukrainian and the Soviet problem. One solution, of course, would be to somehow get these guys involved. And this would not be a solution, but it would definitely help. Possibly in, you know, taking the oil fields. Oh my god, and Beria also has a bunch of manpower. Yeah, I don't know if a war of attrition is actually a viable strategy, but it, you know, it seems like one of the only ways this can go. I'm so glad Finland is not involved with the Soviet Union, because then the Soviet Union could theoretically push through Finland and take Norway and Sweden. And we would have to fight on many different fronts, and I would not like that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I need to rest my voice. But thank you again so much for watching, and the response on the previous video was very, very nice. I much appreciate that. So, thanks for sticking around, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.